Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wild Wind Lacquer. In today's video we are going to take a look at the new summer collection from Orly. They have called it Pop for Summer 2022 and it comes with 6 colors as usual. It looks like we're dealing with a mix this time of finishes. We've got some creams, 1 shimmer, and 1 topper. It also came with a bonus item, which is a full-size nail polish topper and a dotting tool. So what I really like about the Orly collections is they usually come with these little cards. My spring collection actually was missing it, and I had sort of wondered if that was intentional, like they weren't doing them anymore. But in any case, they usually come with a little nail art tutorial about how you can use the colors together to make some nail art. So that is the Orly Pop collection little card. And here is the collection. Cute little bubbles on top, very summer-like. And here are our 6 colors. We've got a very micro glitter topper, a bright yellow, a almost neon coral. Our shimmer shade this time is sort of an orchidy pinky purple. We've got a bright neon purple and a bright turquoise. So those are our colors. Then our bonus polish was this Orly topper called Don't Be Square. And these are little matte yellow glitters. I'll be showing swatches for each color as well as for this topper. And then the dotting tool that was our freebie for this month as well, or one of the freebies, is a really nice dotting duo tool. I've never seen one from Orly personally. This one feels really nice. It feels like a really nice quality. Now the one end of the dotting tool is very small, and then the other end is so small it's actually more like a pencil point. So that's going to be nice. I have quite a lot of dotting tools myself that I've purchased from other locations. I think the Dollar Tree and some from Shein. So I might have one that's this size here on the end that's actually a little dot, but I definitely don't have any that are like this one. So that should be interesting to try out. And then of course our bonus polish here is our topper. That is it in just one coat. I will say that I did have to do some placement, but I mean, look at that. Even over just a simple little French mani that I have like this for summer would be so fun. So you would have to do a little bit of placement and glitter maneuvering, if you will. But I thought it was really fun. I'd actually been eyeing the turquoise version of this, and it's possible I may have it, but I want to say I don't think I'd purchased it yet. So at least this gives me an opportunity to see how the formula is on this and if I like wearing it. But surprisingly enough, I think I might enjoy the yellow. So that again was Don't Be Square. So what I decided to do this time for the Orly summer collection is to pull some comparisons that I have. So in the first round, as I show the nail polishes individually, I'll show you what bottle from Orly I already have that was the closest match, or the ones that I thought of. I know online there's been quite a few comparisons for the yellow and for the purple especially. So I do have some Orlys to share with you for a few of these colors. And then I thought it would be fun to come back and show you some other polishes from other brands and try to sort of dupe the collection and see how close I can get. So hopefully you like those little additions. Feel free to let me know down below. Oh, and if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to hit the little subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. Let's get into the collection. So the first one we're going to look at is the bright yellow. I'm actually going to save the topper for last. This yellow is called Claim to Fame, and this is a pretty bright standard yellow. Now, if you are an avid yellow collector of nail polish, you might already have something in your collection that is a dupe to this, but my collection of yellow nail polish is pretty slim. And by slim, I mean I have under I would normally say under 5, but I think at this point I have collected at least a few from Orly and a few from China Glaze. So at this point, I think it's safe to say I have under 10, which isn't that many yellows. So first let's go ahead and talk about this color. I did all of my swatches in 2 coats. This is it in 2 coats with no top coat. This is a really fun yellow actually, and I'm kind of surprised that I like it as much as I do. As you may have guessed from the amount of yellow that I have in my collection, I'm not the biggest yellow fan. I'm usually pretty picky about my yellows. I prefer them to lean a little bit more on the orange side or more dusty, like more mustardy. But this one is actually a really nice yellow, and I thought the formula was really good. This is it in 2 coats. I didn't see any particular streakiness or uneven application. I thought it was really nice. Now, the reason why you're seeing 2 yellows is this is the yellow that I did pull out for comparison, and initially it was the only one that I was going to do a comparison on, so that's why it's on the wheel right next to it. And if you have any guesses about what this might be, because it's an Orly, that one is Here Comes the Sun. And I want to say that this one came out in a spring collection, like maybe 2021's spring collection. I actually don't have the card of that with me, so I'm sort of guessing on that one. But this is it in 2 coats. And hopefully you can tell on those swatches that it is a bit more on the white leaning side, like there's a pinch more white in it. And it's also a little bit darker of a yellow. Hopefully that's coming across. When I did the initial comparison of them in the bottle, I thought that they were almost twinsies, but Here Comes the Sun, which is this one here on my left, has that pinch of almost a mustard lean to it by comparison. Claim to Fame is a bit brighter in the bottle even, and it has that sunshine feel to it, whereas oddly enough, Here Comes the Sun is a little bit more orange leaning by just a hair. I mean, if you were to put these on one hand, like Here Comes the Sun on one hand and Claim to Fame on the other, I don't think many people would look at you funny because they are very, very similar, but they are different. So that first polish and our first comparison was Orly's Claim to Fame, and the closest Orly I had in my collection was Here Comes the Sun. Next polish in the summer collection is our bright coral. This one is called Connect the Dots. This is another really good formula. It actually dries a tiny bit on the matte side, just a little bit, almost like a plasticky finish. This one also had a really good formula. I thought it applied beautifully and evenly in 2 coats. As you can see, it does have that somewhat plasticky finish to it. That of course will go away if you apply a shiny top coat, but I thought that was a really interesting color actually, and I had a hard time coming up with a dupe in my Orly collection, and the closest that I could find in my collection was this one from, I believe, the summer 2021 collection, which is Artificial Orange. And while they are in the similar family of colors, Artificial Orange is definitely more on the neon orange side. Unfortunately, I think on camera it is going to be a bit blown out because these are intensely bright colors, at least Artificial Orange is. By comparison, Connect the Dots is not as bright. It is a fairly bright color, but it is more like a bright watermelon as opposed to Artificial Orange, which is almost like a neon orangey coral. So that was the closest that I had, so not a dupe. So our second color was Connect the Dots. Next up, we've got our shimmer polish from the collection. This one is called Don't Pop My Balloon. This is a really pretty, almost metallic leaning shimmer polish in an orchidy purple shade. This was one that I did not have any comparisons in my Orly collection whatsoever, so this was fairly unique in that aspect. I will say as far as formulas go, it is different than our creams, obviously. This is it in 2 coats, and while it is opaque, I will say that it has a possibility of being a little bit streaky, and I just mean that I did notice a little bit of unevenness there on the end. I don't know if you can see a little bit of like lumps or bubbles. Now, I don't know, that could be just my messy application, which is always possible, but I thought I'd mention it just in case. But as you can see, it is nice and opaque. I think maybe really long nails, like stiletto length nails, might need a 3rd coat. It's possible, but I think most lengths will be fine with just that 2 coats. So that color, like I said, I didn't have a dupe for in my Orly collection, or anything close even to compare it to. So that was Don't Pop My Balloon. Next is our purple, and this is one that I have seen a number of comparisons of to a pretty popular release from Orly, and you'll see that here in a moment because it was one I thought of too. This one is called Crash the Party, and it is a beautiful bright purple. This is definitely going to be one that is a favorite because it's purple. I'm sort of a sucker for purples if you haven't noticed that. So this is it in 2 coats. Like our bright coral over here, it also does dry to somewhat of a plasticky matte finish, semi-matte finish, and it is a beautiful formula as well. It is a really gorgeous color, and you might be wondering, like I was, how does that compare to Synthetic Symphony from the summer collection? And here it is. Now in person and hopefully on camera, they are different. They are pretty close, but not dupes. Synthetic Symphony, by comparison, leans a bit more blue of a purple. They are both gorgeous polishes, but not dupes to my eyes. So hopefully that comparison helps you there. So that purple of the collection was Crash the Party. All right, moving on to the last color before our topper. Here's the blue. This one is Rinse and Repeat, and this is a vivid mid-toned blue. It's not quite a turquoise. There's not enough green in it to my eyes, and it's a bit deeper than a typical sky blue. This is another one that I did not find anything to compare it to in my Orly collection. So this is it in 2 coats. This one does dry with that shiny glossy finish. This one, as far as formula goes, was also really nice. Nice and opaque for me in 2 coats. I didn't notice any streakiness or unevenness or anything like that. It's a very bright but wearable blue. Doesn't quite enter into that neon family, but it is still a vivid color. So that last color was Rinse and Repeat. And lastly, we have our glitter topper. This one is called Just an Illusion. And initially when I pulled this from the box, I wasn't all that excited about it. It seemed like just another gold glitter topper, but when you look at it a little bit closer, it does have a lot of twinkling in it, a lot of sparkle. These are very small micro glitters, and what is really neat about this one is it seems like it has a little bit of holographic in it. I don't know if you can see that red twinkling away. Amongst the lighter gold, almost like a gold champagne micro glitter, is a very small, again, micro glitter in what I would say is a gold holographic. That makes this one pretty unique and special to my collection. It is gold though, so I'm not sure how often I will wear it, but I thought I'd just bring that up because, like I said, in the bottle, I wasn't really that jazzed about it initially. So this is it in 2 coats, just so you could see all of the goodies in it. You probably won't get this opaque on its own. It's definitely a topper, but sort of on the neutral side as far as golds go. So I might actually be getting a little bit more use out of this than I probably am giving it credit for. Let's go ahead and take a look at this topper over the collection. That way you can get a feel for how it applies. And we're just gonna start here with our yellow, which was Claim to Fame, and go and do half of each nail. So actually over Claim to Fame, I think you can see the holographic come up in little red specks. Very pretty. Gonna try it over the coral, which is Connect the Dots. That's gonna gloss up the finish and add a nice twinkling. Actually, that's a pretty good duo there. I like that. Next is our Orchid Leaning Shimmer Polish. That one is Don't Pop My Balloon. That's a really nice combination as well. I can definitely see the red twinkling away on this one as well. Again, I'm hoping that at least when I upload the video that you guys can see that, because that's a really, really pretty little addition to that polish. Next, we're going to do Crash the Party, which is our purple. I can see the red twinkles on this one as well. Really pretty combination. I think I will get a lot more use out of this than I'm giving it credit for. Very pretty. And then lastly, our blue, which is Rinse and Repeat. That one, I also see those little red to pink speckles coming across, so I definitely see a little particle of holographic in there. So there are our colors, our summer collection with the topper over half of each color. Very fun. So our topper again was just an illusion. All right, so now for some possible dupes. Could I dupe these colors in my collection from other brands? And the answer is kind of. Once again, the only yellow in my entire collection that was even close was the one that we've already discussed, and that was Here Comes the Sun. That was the closest one that I could come to duping it. So we've got our original colors here and our possible dupes right on top. And as you can see, when they're not right next to each other, it is a bit difficult to distinguish them from one from the other. There is a slight difference, but again, if you were to look at my possible dupes and compare it to a visual that you have of the Orly Summer collection, I think it's a pretty good close polish to pull if you don't feel like getting another polish. So that was Orly's Here Comes the Sun for my yellow. For my dupe of Connect the Dots, I had to go to the Indies. This is from a Trio Lacquer and it is called Quokka Selfie. This one is not a cream polish, but I didn't have anything in a cream formula that was even close to that one, which was kind of surprising to me. This is it in 2 coats. And that shimmer isn't as apparent without a glossy top coat. So to my eyes, it did come pretty close to duping our polish here. It isn't exactly a dupe, but it would be a pretty good stand-in if you didn't feel like getting another polish. You'd get the same vibe. So that was Trio Lacquer's Quokka Selfie. Then to match our orchid color, which was Don't Pop My Balloon, I found one kind of close in Essie. Again, the formulation is not the same. This one is not a shimmer or metallic, but it does have a little bit of shimmer in it. But I thought of the polishes that I pulled to compare, this one had the closest color match. So when you compare them side by side, I think the colors are pretty close to each other. You've got that same tonality. I think Essie might be a little bit more on the pink side, but here they are compared to each other on swatch wheels. The one in front is our Essie, which I didn't even say the name, Madison Avenue. So Essie is on top. Don't Pop My Balloon is on the bottom, half topped with our topper of the day. So again, while I don't think they're straight up dupes, if you were just looking for something to replicate the feel of this collection in your own collection, I think this is a pretty decent stand-in. You get a pretty similar vibe, although I feel like on camera they're coming across a lot different than they are in person. In person, I feel that they are pretty similar. Obviously different finishes, but a very similar vibe. So that stand-in for Don't Pop My Balloon is this Essie called Madison Avenue. Now our purple. Could I dupe my purple and get the same vibe from any other brand in my collection? And the answer I think is yeah. And oddly enough, it's another Orly. This Orly that I'm thinking of is Kelly's Solar Flare, and it is not, again, the same formula. Kelly's Solar Flare has a really neat mix of glitters in it and a shimmer. But as far as the actual base color, I feel like they are pretty spot on to each other. So Kelly's Solar Flare has the addition of shimmers, but I feel like the base of it is almost identical to Crash the Party. So here they are next to each other. Kelly's Solar Flare is on top, Crash the Party's on the bottom, half topped with our topper from the collection. Now obviously they aren't going to be identical because of that shimmer in it, but again, I feel like you get a very similar feel to it. It is that bright pop of purple, and then you get that additional beautiful shimmer to it. So if you already have a Kelly Solar Flare and you aren't looking to add any more polishes to your collection, I think that's a pretty good stand-in. So that again was Orly's Kelly's Solar Flare. Now to our blue for Rinse and Repeat. What did I find in my collection? The closest that I found was from Top Shelf, again going indie, and this one is Blueberry Pear Smoothie. This one was the closest because it is also a cream formula. This is it in 2 coats, and this one seems to have a different pigmentation going on to Rinse and Repeat, because unlike Rinse and Repeat, this one does dry down to that almost plasticky neon finish, so slightly matte, not exactly glossy. but this is how it compares to Rinse and Repeat. Again, on camera, I feel like they're coming across a little bit more drastically different than they are in person. Now, don't get me wrong, they aren't dead on dupes by any means. The Pear Smoothie one from Top Shelf is a little bit lighter. I think it has a little bit more white in it as well. But again, as far as a vibe, if you're looking for something that's a good stand-in, I think it would get the job done. Now, also when they were wet, they looked a lot closer. Now that they've dried, they are a bit more dissimilar. But in any case, that was my little dupe the collection part of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Again, the last one was from Top Shelf Lacquer, and that was Blueberry Pear Smoothie. So hopefully you liked my little can I dupe this collection portion of the video. I didn't have anything even remotely close to Just an Illusion to do a comparison of, but there you have it. My little dupe of the Orly Summer 2022 collection. So feel free to let me know down below what you thought of the little tweaks that I did to my usual Orly collection videos. Make sure to hit that little subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in that next one.